When you go into preterm labour, you're warned that your baby may be small, but it came as a complete surprise when I had my daughter. She was born full term, and she only weighed £4 and 10 ounces. So my labour was pretty quick at just 6 hours, especially being as she was my first baby. But once it had been ascertained that she was a breech presentation, they decided that I'd need a cesarean. I did agree and vaguely remember signing the form, but she was born middle of January and the snow had been falling really heavily the whole time I was in labour. So the anaesthetist actually got stuck in the snow. And instead of me having that cesarean, I ended up having a forceps delivery. I think my most prominent memory is one of fear. I don't really feel that things were explained well enough. And that once interventions were needed, I felt that I'd lost control of the situation and I was just a thing to be worked on. I was cut to be able to have the forceps delivery, but I also tore quite badly. So I had to have a lot of stitches. So when she was born, she was handed to me for what seemed like seconds, but she had breathing difficulties and she had a really, really low body temperature. So was whisked off to special care. And I was put on the post-natal ward and was surrounded by mums and babies. And at that time, I didn't even really feel that I'd met my baby. So the anxiety started and the questions going through my head like, will I recognise her? Will she still know me? Will we still bond? All those sort of things went through my head. I really wasn't prepared for how much it would affect me emotionally. So I kept asking to see her, but I kept being told that I needed rest as I'd lost a lot of blood during delivery. And I suppose you've also got to take into consideration that this is quite a lot of years ago because I'm quite a bit older. So these were the days when every woman stayed in hospital for at least a week after birth. She also quickly really developed jaundice as well. So she was in an incubator, she was under lights. Obviously, there was difficulties around her breastfeeding. So she had to be fed through a tube, through a nose. I think the hardest part about having a baby in special care was especially those first few days when she was in what was considered to be the high dependency unit. There were other babies in there who were very, very preterm. And there was also a baby in there that was really quite poorly. So that was difficult. There was that, not just the stress of your own baby, but you're in there every few hours and you make a bond with the other parents there and you're not just concerned about your own baby, you're concerned about the other babies in there as well. The other thing, I suppose, she lost quite a lot of weight after birth, which all babies do. But when it's a tiny baby, it seems even worse. It's more worrying. Um, so she at one point she went down to just over £4, and it took her nearly a fortnight to be able to maintain her temperature. I suppose as well, one of the things that you've got when you're in a high dependency unit like that is alarms going off all the time. And that often it would trigger my anxiety. And also being around scared parents was really quite traumatizing, I suppose, especially being as I was very young at the time. The other thing I was never really given a reason why she was born so small. My weight was mentioned because I'd go beyond slim. I really was quite small. And I've only got a short stature anyway. So that was one of the things it was put down to. But there was also evidence of what's called a gritty placenta, which I think the medical term for it is a calcified placenta. So there was that worry whether it would happen again. I went on to have another 3 babies, and they monitored me really closely with each one. None of my babies were big. My biggest was £6 6 ounces, but that never repeated for me. So that was a good thing. That was a good thing.